Do you have drive? That's my one and only question I'm focusing on today. And it is one that when you discover the answer to, and I'm going to help you today, and I hope you have a much better idea of how to do that come the end of this video, that you are going to see how you can not only achieve your goals, but you can maintain them, sustain them without feeling like you're missing out on life or having to change who you are as a person. This really is a superpower. And when I say this, I mean your drive or your reason or your why or the passion, the real passion that's going to help you achieve your goals and in a way that doesn't seem like it's all or nothing. Now, I'm going to be covering a lot of ground here today, and some things may more resonate with you than others, but ultimately there's going to be areas here that are going to bring it back to you and you're going to get that aha moment that's going to make you see, okay, this is where I am now, this is where I want to be, and this is what I need to do in order to achieve that without going insane. So I'm involved in the health and fitness industry, and predominantly I help my clients achieve their health and fitness goals. But along with that goes a multitude of other things. And one of the key aspects is the mindset. Now, I don't really like technical jargon, so that is why I use simple words such as drive. If you ask someone what their drive is, what their passion is, they're going to really understand. However, the implications of that come back to the mindset and how you start to see things. So I'm going to break this down piece by piece. Now, obviously, as I've just said, I focus on the health and fitness aspects of life, but this could go in any area of your life. And indeed, I also focus on men over the age of 40, and that's where I'm going to be predominantly focusing most of my analogies today and the projection forward. But however, this could apply to anyone of any age. So, okay, let's start with where you may be at now. If you're watching this video, chances are you have some health and fitness goals that you're looking to achieve. You may have achieved them in the past. Maybe it's that you want to get back to a way that you used to look or how you used to feel, or maybe you've never been there and now you feel like now's the time, life's creeping up on you, you feel like you're missing out on life, or you're sitting on the sidelines way too much and you want to be involved in life more, or you just want to feel better about yourself, look in the mirror and feel better about yourself, or feel more confident, or maybe you've got aches and pains. Whatever it is, there will be something that has brought you here, and I'm going to help you today by helping you understand how can you find your drive, your reason, your passion, your why to start achieving what you really want to achieve. So with that in mind, let's have a little look at certain scenarios, okay? When people come to me, we tend to go through a little bit of a back and forward conversational piece. And that is the reason why I put this video together here. We can do it in almost a generic way that you can do in your own time, in your own space. So when they come to me, I'm going to paint a few scenarios here. Now, first off, it may be that someone says to me, okay, Scott, I feel terrible. I hate the way I look. I want to look like this. And then they'll picture this goal. They'll tell me how this goal looks like. And I will listen, and I will listen more, and I'll ask some probing questions. And I'll do the same with you right now in your own head. So if this does describe you, think about where you are right now, and then think about where you want to be. There probably is a difference between the two, okay? Now, say you come to me and say, I'm going all in. I want to do this over 12, 16, 24 weeks. I'm all in. This is all I want to do. I'm hungry for it. I'm driven for it. There's all those words, okay? Then we have a scenario, okay? So, see this little bubble up here right now. This represents where you are, okay? I'm going to explain how this all comes together soon. In this bubble, we have essentially what I would call habits, or just daily things that you do consciously or subconsciously. Now, as you'll notice, some of them have got the little emoji with the halo on. Now, I'm having a little bit of fun with this as well because it brings it in and makes it seem a bit more real. But the halo represents those good habits or those things that you do that keep you healthy, keep you essentially in line with the goal that you want to achieve. Now, the more of those you have in your life, the better, obviously. Now, the poos, don't be put off by the poos. The poos are not bad. In fact, I use the poo analogy quite a lot, or the poo emoji quite a lot as well, to signal having fun, a little bit crazy, a little bit weird, okay? But these are the things you do which maybe aren't in line with your goal. So if your goal is to be 6% body fat, not sure why you'd want to be that, but 66% body fat, then the poo emoji might represent you eating out 5 nights a week and having loads of desserts as well. Clearly the two aren't in line with one another. However, I'm going to come back to this later, and it's important when you have a look at this video. So as we look over here now, you're going to see how we generally have some good habits there. The good habits might be that you have an amazing breakfast, or a lunch that's incredible, or you do a workout, or you get some good sleep, or you just generally look after yourself, or maybe even getting your steps in day after day, whatever your step target is. So you're looking after yourself. It may even be that your stress levels are quite good as well. So those halo emojis can mean a multitude of things. Now, the poos, I've just kind of explained what they might be. That might even be, it doesn't even have to be food. It could be that you get really stressed about something and it really gets to you, and then when you step back, you think, maybe I shouldn't have got that stressed about it. Or maybe you're sitting down in the evening, you plan on watching one TV program, you end up watching 5, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, you've got to get up in the morning for work, and then you are running on fumes, so to speak. Okay, so whatever those little things are. Now, when someone comes to me and says, okay, Scott, this is where I am, this is where I want to be, the goal. Can you see the difference? It's kind of obvious here what the difference is, but that is a no-brainer. You would already know that coming into this video. The problem is that a lot of people will do everything correct by the book almost over, say, a 12-week period when they go for a transformation of sorts, and they cut out all those poos in their life. They get rid of them, and as I say, they're very driven to do so, and they go over a 12-week period, and now their life starts looking a bit more like this. And from the outside looking in, they look incredible, they look amazing, and there's definite signs of progression. Now that is fantastic, and there is a time and a place to do that, and I'm going to explain why in a moment, or I'm going to explain when that time is in a moment. But in general, if someone comes to me and says, I need to change my life for the better, Scott, let's play an analogy here. I'm 45 years old, I've got 2 kids, I really want to enjoy them, I feel like I'm not able to keep up, I'm not feeling great, I'm not looking great, I just don't feel confident. I want to bring all of that into my life and watch my kids go into this world, be supportive of them, be involved with them, okay? So I've painted a scenario there, and I could paint several scenarios. That's probably the most generic one, okay? So say we're there. Now, if someone said to me, and I want to look like this in 12 weeks, I would say to them, 1, I'm not the guy for you if you think I'm going to say yes to that, because that isn't what you need. What you really need is to, over time, develop some step-by-step habits that is 1 foot outside of your comfort zone, not 2 leaps outside of your comfort zone, in order to get from here to here. Now, when you start to think of it that way, and we take steps, little steps, and I'm going to explain how in a moment, then you can get from here over to here and not even realize that you've transferred from one to the other. People start to look at you and say, you look amazing, you look great. You start to feel great. You start to achieve those goals. You start to live out that future that you was hoping to live out when you came to me originally. And we have done so in a way that works for you personally. It it's cleaned up certain things in your life without taking out all the fun in your life. And then you end up in this scenario. Now, I haven't even touched on what's going on in this goal circle yet, but I'm going to in a moment because it's really worth the wait. And you get to see actually how things really, really look. So I'll come back to that in a moment, that slow process. But what if someone comes to me, because there are occasions where I do this, and they say, Scott, I want to get from here to here, and I need to do it in 12 weeks. Now, the times when I would do that is when someone may have a competition that they want to get ready for, or I can think of one specifically where a man come to me and he was getting married in 13 weeks, and it was a beach wedding where they was going to be wearing swimwear. Hey, whatever floats your boat. Now, in that case, he'd spent a lot of money on this wedding. He wanted to look great. He wanted to feel great. I was all up for it. Okay. I did explain, however, that this is for that moment and that moment only, and that's what you enjoy. He was fully on board and we achieved the goals. That was when we got really drastic. And yeah, he had to make some hard decisions on a day-to-day basis and really ensure that he was on it. And I had to coach him every step of the way. I had to be on him every step of the way in order to get from where he was to where he wanted to be. And he did so very successfully. Now, I've done that time after time. I could take it to a whole new level. In fact, I will. Sometimes some of my clients may have other reasons, such as operations. Now, this could be of a cancerous nature, or maybe it's another organ perspective. And I've had all of those things where someone has needed to not only lose weight, but get in good shape in order to ensure that their recovery is good. Then again, I would go for that 12-week approach where it's almost an all-in approach there, because the need is very, very powerful, and that's key. And timing is of the essence, and that's key. That's when I like the 12-week transformation, when that period of intenseness is going to lead to a result that really can alter that person's life forever. Now, there are other ways of scaling this in and scaling this out, and this is all going to make sense once you watch all of this back again and then start to plot out where you are in the journey and what it is that you really need from where you are now to where you want to be. Okay, so in those scenarios, that very quick transition is the right approach. But with the caveat that knowing that post-event, that then you've either got to look at regressing back and finding a way to get back to that level again, or accepting that you are going to take a step back over time. Because this is what we see on most transformations, or at least that's what I see when I see these happen. Someone will get an amazing transformation, 12 weeks, let's say, and then six weeks after that, they're somewhere back where they were at the beginning, and sometimes they're already all the way back. Maybe they're ballooned back up in weight, or their fitness has dropped, or a combination of all of those things. And even worse, then they end up picking up some more bad habits where they feel like they were neglected for that amount of time, or it was a boot camp style and they feel almost like they're beaten up and they need to comfort themselves, and they introduce even more of those poos into their life. And then all of a sudden their life starts to look maybe even not slightly as good as it was before. That's the irony of doing these 12-week transformations. They can work, but they can also backfire. So this is the bread and butter of my work, if you like. If someone comes to me, particularly when they are in their midlife, I want to say, so 35, 40, 45, 50, and even 55 onwards, now we've got to look at things slightly different, because the map has changed, okay? What used to work for you when you was 20 won't necessarily work as well as it did then for you now. Now, why is that? Again, there could be multiple reasons. And if I was talking to one person, I would give very specific answers to that. However, I'm speaking generically here. So let's look at something. When someone comes to me, say a guy again comes to me and says, okay, Scott, I want to look like I did when I was in my 20s. And this is what I did. So this is what we should do. Can you help me do that? First off, I'm going to look at what they said they did. And then I'm going to tell them whether I think it's suitable. A lot of the times, if it's a guy who's in great shape, very physical, maybe an athlete even, then I would turn around and say, okay, what you did then would likely destroy you right now. You might feel good for a while, but then things are going to start to hurt and things aren't going to feel as good as they used to. You're probably going to get injured, and then you're going to take a step back, and then you're just going to go back to where you were feeling like you failed. Instead, let's take a smart approach. Let's look at where you are right now, see how those halos are stacking up and how those poos are stacking up. And how would we do that? We would go back and forth. We would take a look in depth at the life. What's the eating habits like? And again, this isn't to clean anything up. And you're going to notice this throughout this video. The goal is not to clean everything up. The goal is to get you where you are wanting to be, with as many of your enjoyable factors of life intact. And that is key to a happy and healthy lifestyle moving forward, okay? So we'd break down this situation, see where they're at right now. And we'd also look at what they're doing from a, say, a training perspective or a lifestyle perspective. And we'd find out our poos and our halo smiley faces there. And we'd build that little picture up. Once we have that picture, then we will somewhat look at the goal scenario, okay? Say this person comes to me and they are 24% body fat, which is actually not too bad, but drastically out of shape. Everything's a bit saggy, nothing's where it needs to be or wants to be, and they just feel down on themselves. But they want to get down to, say, 16% body fat, okay? And they want to feel better, feel stronger, less aches, less pains, and just feel more confident in their body and in their skin and in their clothes. Okay, so then we will paint a scenario of what we think that needs to look like. Now, what I mean by that is what kind of habits might you have to do? Now, some of the obvious ones are that maybe less eating out randomly without ever knowing what it is you're eating or drinking. And maybe some form of exercise regime that not only helps tone up the body and get the muscles working and stronger, but also stops those aches and pains from the rigors of daily life, working life, and just predominantly getting older. So then we can build in a routine there. So now we start to build up that scenario of what that looks like. And this is what the goal lifestyle looks like with its halos and its poos. And I'm going to come back to it in a moment because there's still poos in this halo. So again, that's really, really important. Okay. Then we look at the two, okay? And we see the difference. And if we just took it at that face value, it's all going to seem a bit daunting, and someone's going to look and go, you know what? I just don't know I can do this. I think this is just going to be another failed attempt. I don't settle for that, okay? This is where we are at, and this is why this video has been put together, that now we start to break things down. And this is why this video kind of has to be a bit lengthy to understand the breakdown process. So now I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about what the goal looks like at the moment. We've depicted that, we put that to one side at the moment. Now all we need to do is go back to our here and now scenario and think, okay, we've got our little poos floating around here. Now, one of the poos might be that you eat out 5 times a week, okay, and you have crazy portions of food, okay? Another one of the poos might be that you're not exercising anymore because you just feel rubbish. So what's the point in exercising, right? You just feel rubbish anyway. So there's no point. I've lost my mojo. I've got no drive, no passion. All right. So before we start tackling those poos, we need to tackle that word that I just said there, passion. More specifically, drive. So now what we're going to do is sit down, and this is what I do with people, one-on-one clients. I do this, I go through this process. I've written a book, an ebook called Win With Your Why. Now essentially your why is the reason why you want to do something. It's the reason why you will get up and do something even on your worst day. You may not do it perfectly, and you don't have to do it perfectly, but you will get up and you will do something. Take a small step towards your goal. It's that 1 foot outside of the comfort zone, but it feels okay because your why, your drive, or your passion enables you to take that step and give it a go. So how will you discover your why if you're not working with me? Well, then you can just go through a very simple process right here, and I don't want to get complicated with it. You just have to kind of embrace what it is I'm saying. And this stuff works, and it works time in, time out, okay? So you've painted where you want to be, okay? Your goal scenario. Now you need to ask yourself, why? Why is this important? Why? What makes this important? Am I doing it for my wife? Am I doing it for my kids? Am I doing it for X, Y, Z? Anything other than you? Now, if that's what comes out of your mouth, that is okay, but it's not ideal, because this goal scenario needs to work really well, and where it becomes super powerful, the kind of goal that you can maintain forever without feeling like you're having to maintain it, is the kind of goal that if you took everyone else out of the equation and you just looked into a mirror, that you would look at yourself and go, do you know what? I feel better about myself. You don't have to feel perfect about yourself. Very few people I ever work with look in the mirror and say, I'm perfect, okay? But if you feel better about yourself, or you have slightly more self-confidence or more self-efficacy, then you are going the right way about the reasons for your goal, the drive behind your goal. So looking in the mirror is actually quite hard, particularly if you have no distractions whatsoever, no phones, no nothing. You look in the mirror and you just look at yourself and look in the mirror. It sounds like mumbo jumbo, but roll with me here. I don't do mumbo jumbo. I only do practical, real life stuff. And that's what this is right now. A straight to camera, straight to video, just saying what I feel, no edits, no nothing, just running through with this thing, okay? So now what you do, I'm going to back off just a little bit, is you'll go up to the mirror. This is what you need to do. You look at the mirror, okay? All you do is look. It's the weirdest thing in the world, right? It's certainly weird when you're on camera, but you just look in the mirror. Get used to it for a little bit. Pull funny faces, do whatever you want, but look in the mirror. Relax and just embrace what you see. You might not like what you see. I don't always like what I see. From here, I might look fine. Guys, if I come a little bit closer, you start to see all the wrinkles. You start to see the 49-year-old body that's standing in front of you. Okay? Nothing's perfect. Nothing's perfect. But the moment you accept that, but also accept that you can have something that is closer to perfect, then you start to feel more optimistic and you start to make those inroads. So I've still left you hanging a little bit here, okay? We've looked in the mirror so far and we've pulled ourselves apart a little bit. We've looked at ourselves and think, okay, yeah, I don't feel comfortable doing this. So now what you can do is start to ask yourself just some basic questions. And this is where I find that having a bulletproof buddy, or for my little clients, a doubt-proof dude, someone who can be on your side. And that someone who's on your side is you, okay? So here's how this works, okay? So you'll look in the mirror and I want you to say some of the things that you don't like about yourself. And what I mean by that is the things that are holding you back, such as, you know, I don't like the fact that I don't feel motivated, or I don't like the fact that I look horrible in clothes, or I don't like the way I look naked, or whatever. Those things that kind of, you know, they cut a little deep and they make you feel a little bit down. Now, when you go into the mirror and you start looking at that, and there's a reason why we're unpacking this, okay? Because we want to get to your drive, to your reason, to your why, to the passion that's going to make this goal perfect for you. Okay, so when we come back to the mirror now what you'll do is you'll look in the mirror and you start asking these questions. Instead of you asking you and firing back to you, your doubt-proof dude or bulletproof buddy, now they are there to take those comments for you. They have no feelings whatsoever. They are you, but they have no feelings. So when you throw those comments out there, anything that comes back goes to them, right? Now, roll with me for a second. What this allows you to do is open yourself up. You don't start beating yourself up. You're asking a line of questions that really dig into what's going on in your life. Now, for some people, that can get really deep. If you're in a situation where your home life isn't great or your work life isn't great, you can start offloading into the mirror. And then all those comments you're offloading, they're going off onto your buddy, as it was, your dude, and they're not coming back to you. It's just your way of offloading for a moment. And once you start to offload and start saying all those things and start realizing, actually, that I'm not letting them come back to me now, I'm just offloading them. I'm saying all the things that are distracting me, all my problems. That's what you are essentially doing, is offloading temporarily. You're still going to get them all back, okay? I told you, this is not woo-woo stuff. This just gives you a prime opportunity to find out and clear your brain and work out what it is you want to do, okay? So when you've offloaded all of this stuff, so you offload all these problems such as, let's run some scenarios here. My relationship isn't where it wants to be. This is what I don't like about it. And I don't like the way my body looks, and I don't have any great career perspectives, and this, that, and the other. Now, when you start offloading those things, and again, I could run through many scenarios. Maybe it's an injury, maybe it's an illness. This illness is holding me back. It's making me just have no motivation and just go worse into my pit and just feel worse and balloon out in weight, whatever it is, or my health just deteriorates as a result. You start to offload this all of a sudden with temporary relief, knowing that it's not coming back to you, it's gone to someone else who can handle it. They can handle that baggage for a little while, those problems of baggage that you've just handed to them. At that moment, then, once you've offloaded everything that you can get your brain around, there might be a long list, it might be a short list. Once you have run through all those things, talking in the mirror and knowing that you're giving them to someone else, and again, roll with me here. You try this first, guys. Try this, okay? I'm a skeptic of everything in life. Try this. Just give yourself a little bit of a reprieve. This is a free way of clearing your brain, okay? Once you get to that point where you've run out of problems, now is when you can start to see what it is you really want in your future. What is your real goal? And then you can start to think, okay, now I've got rid of all of those things. What is it I really want for myself? What is going to help me when I take all these problems back, if I was to get to that point, that would be better for me? I'd be in a better place. And that might be where you would turn around and say, okay, if I could get my fitness levels up, if I could start to feel a bit stronger and fit my clothes a bit better and just have better posture, less pain, then my mood would increase and I'd be able to tolerate some of those situations a bit better, and then maybe even look to address some of those situations. Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's where you are at work, or maybe it is something else outside of that, where it's the pursuit of some form of happiness. You will be more in a position where you feel more confident in order to go forward and start achieving those things, okay? Now, all of a sudden, you can look at the goal that you wrote up before and see, is that in line, that kind of look, that kind of feel, those things that I pointed out there, are they in line with what I want to achieve? Now, this is awesome because at this point, now you've started to see how actually that goal represents more than what it does physically. It's not just, say, 10% loss in body fat, which is amazing. Now it represents something else. It represents an opportunity for you to start moving forward, for you to start getting where you want to be. And more importantly, it's going to start feeling right. It's going to feel less like sacrifice when you start getting rid of some of those little comforts that you've developed there, and more like a privilege to start having some of those things in your life, because they're going to lead to a better life, one that still has quite a few poos in it. And again, I'm going to come back to that in a moment. So I want to explain that very basic. That's just one of the methods, okay? When I work with people, I had 3 specific methods. That's just one outline message there. And again, I'm talking to a generic camera here, guys, so I can't depict a situation there. But that offloading of your problems in order to clear the brain, so now you can think about, what is it I really want to achieve in this moment? Now I've got my problems aside just for a moment. I've cleared my thoughts. I can see the wood for the trees. What is it I really want for myself that's going to make me, and notice I said me, happy? That's why I said before that ideally that goal, or those goals, are really orientated around what you want, not what your partner wants, not what your children want, what you want, that is also going to help benefit them as well. That's a bonus, but it has to benefit you first and foremost, because you are going to be the drive behind maintaining and sustaining a lifestyle that is a much better place than you are right now. So we've been through that brief scenario there. And again, if you need to reach out for me, you can, and we can discuss this a little bit further. But at this stage, run through that process of offloading your problems and then seeing really what is it you want to achieve. Get very graphic, maybe even write it down. In fact, I do suggest you write it down. Write down exactly what it is you want to achieve, because that's going to make your goal that much more powerful, much more sticky. And what I mean by sticky is it's stuck to your drive, it's stuck to your passion, and that makes it a real powerful goal, because now it's not just some New Year's resolution that you made up after 15 glasses of wine. It is now a goal that has a real meaning behind it, and they are the most powerful kind of goals. All right, so we've broken that down. So now we have our goal, okay? Gets deep, right? So now you can see how we have where we are now to where we want to be. Now we can start. Now we know that this goal is secure and it has real meaning and it's a sticky goal. Now we know it has real meaning. Now we can start working out how we get from here to here without going insane, okay? Now, this is what I tend to do. I always say, let's look at our poos in our life right now, okay? Which one's the lowest hanging fruit? Which one is the one first that I feel I can take a hit at the moment and really try and make that poo slightly smaller, i.e. that habit that maybe isn't ideal is just a little bit less frequent in my life. Let's say, for example, if someone says to me, Scott, I really need to lose weight, but I always fail. I always fail. Every time I try and lose weight, I lose a bit of weight and then I put it all back on again. Okay, there's a pattern going on there, and we need to change the pattern if it hasn't worked for you in the past. And you probably need to do what you've not been doing in order to get the results that you've not been getting, okay? So here in this example, I would almost push the food poos to one side for now, and focus on somewhere else and say, okay, what is it that you are good at the moment? What one of these areas do we feel like we can tackle? Maybe it's the exercise. And a lot of times the guys will say to me, yeah, I love exercise. I just don't feel good doing it, so I don't bother at the moment. I'm going, okay, there's a start. Brilliant. We like to exercise, okay? I'm going to put together a plan for you that works with your favorite exercises, but also the favorite exercises that start to push you more towards your end goal. So not exercise for the sake of exercise, but exercise for the sake of getting better, improving and progressing, okay? but we do it in a very small way. It's the lowest hanging fruit over here. It's the easiest thing for us to grab at, okay? So I don't want you to worry about how you look right now. This is me talking to the client. I don't want to worry about how you look right now. I want you just to start exercising without thinking of your end goal. Just be in the moment, enjoy the exercise for what it is. Start to get them endorphins flowing, start to get those hormones moving in the right direction. Now, this is my ultimate underlying goal, okay? If I say to someone, go in, here's a 30-minute workout, very specific to you. However, I only want you to take on the first 5 minutes. Give me the first 5 minutes. If you still want to carry on, you carry on, okay? The reverse psychology, the hiding behind that, again, I'm opening it all up here, is that my hope is that after 5 minutes in, they're like, you know what, I'm enjoying this. The endorphins have already started to flow after that 5 minutes. I'm going to carry on for the rest of the 25 minutes. I can do it. And they get it done, okay? There's a tick. However, say they just get through 5 minutes, go, yeah, I'm done. We still got that endorphin rush. We still made a little tick in that box, and that is progression, okay? And then we can build on that over time. But if I say I want someone to do 3 sessions per week, I want them to do that. Now, that might be that I planned on 3 half-hour sessions per week, but they give me 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. Brilliant. We still got 3 ticks, okay? It's a start, and that's all we need to do. That's how we start to make some of these poos a little bit smaller. And now what tends to happen is once we say, let's focus, carry on with our scenario here. We're focused on the exercise, okay? Now that person after a couple of weeks is like, okay, Scott, I've strung together six sessions. That's brilliant. That's more than I've done in the last 6 months. I actually felt quite good. In the last session, I did all half hour. Brilliant, great, okay. I think I'm ready to start tackling some of the food because I'm starting to feel just a little bit like, okay, I'm putting in this work now and I kind of want to feel like I'm doing it for something, to which I agree. So then we'll look at some of these food parts, okay? Now, real classic for me is, I see this a lot, particularly with the guys, is that they may have lots of teas and coffees in a day, and they may have sugar in there. Now, a bit quirky, a bit specific, but one thing that I've always done is saying, because I'm always looking, particularly with the guys, is to make sure that the protein that they're getting on a daily basis is adequate, and also the fiber that they're getting on a daily basis is adequate, and you can build those levels over time. Now, this might be where I'd say to someone, okay, can we look to take out the sugars out of the teas and coffees? Well, I love my teas and coffees with sugar. I'm not going to drink them without. That wasn't what I said. Obviously, I'm role playing here. I said, can you take out the sugar? But maybe, how about if you replace it with a scoop of protein powder? Pick your flavor, whatever. Now that coffee can be like one of your favorite coffees when you're out and about. You got to pick the flavor, okay? So now what we've done is we've taken out some of the sugar, okay? We've maybe replaced it with something with added sugar into it, but also protein in there. I didn't say this was perfect, okay? Perfect doesn't exist. And I'll show that at the end. I'll come to that at the end. Please stick to the end and you'll see where perfect can get you, okay? Now all of a sudden we're starting to get more protein into the coffee. That's great. So that's really, really good. That's amazing. And then what we're going to do is just stick to that for now. So I say that, you know, your only goal this week is to make sure that you have any teas or coffees really with the protein there. And then maybe look just to slowly cut down on those teas, because protein and tea is a bit weird. But then you look to cut them down a little bit, and then you're starting to up your protein levels, okay? And also, can we start introducing just a few little extra veggies with each and every meal? Just a little, no pressure. Maybe they're even eaten off the cuff, prepared in advance, just so that we can start adding a little bit of fiber in. These are just minor things. Everything else stays the same. We're not cutting anything out, okay? So now we start to progress, and now that plan starts to come through, and we give that a couple more weeks. Now you can see how this starts to take time, but after a couple of weeks, we're starting to get some more workouts in. Brilliant. We're starting to get some more protein in. great. We're starting to get some more fiber in, great. Very slowly, I'm not going to go this step by step over. This video will be 16 hours long. We will start to reduce some of those poos. We haven't got rid of them. We're just starting to reduce some of those poos, the lowest hanging poos, if you like, that we can start to tackle. And now, after a while, and consistency is the key, because this all seems manageable, doing this consistently is where you start to notice the results. Now we could take one of those other little poos. Now, one of those other little poos might be where someone says, I'm constantly got lower back pain. I sit all day at work. I'm okay. How about, can we introduce just one exercise? I'll give you this exercise that's going to help strengthen and lengthen those muscles in your lower back and surrounding areas to help you. All I want you to do is tag that on every time you have a coffee, okay? So now we're using like a habit magnet kind of thing here. We're attaching a new habit that we want to do. In this case, it's this stretching and mobilizing exercise onto a habit we already have, such as drinking the coffee. So while you're waiting for your coffee to prepare, just do this little stretch each and every time, or at the end of the day, just before you go to bed, when you're brushing your teeth, just do this little stretch. Now we've started to create a real noticeable change without drastically changing someone's life. So what we've done here is we've taken away the overwhelm of working out. We've just started to work out to some degree, a minimum level, which is totally doable, and a maximum level, which is still doable and not overwhelming, okay? So 5 minutes minimum, 30 minutes max, 3 times per week. Brilliant, we've got that happening now, regular, no matter what, because there's no pressure. We've introduced more protein, more fiber, just general, kept the rest of the diet the same. And we've introduced a stretching or lengthening or mobility exercise that is going to help with those posture aches and pains. I use the lower back as a scenario because it's probably one of the most common things that comes up. Okay, so now we're starting to get somewhere. The real key, what's going on behind everything here, behind all these actions, is we're starting to build up those patterns in the head of positive behaviors, real positive things that are going in the right direction. Those little actions without giving up your life or feeling like you've turned into some kind of health guru overnight, which is overwhelming, and quite frankly, your friends just think you're weird, and it kind of feels weird to you too. That you're just starting to introduce these things. Probably no one else is even noticing. That doesn't matter. All that matters is that you notice. And then you start doing these things, and now we can start having the conversation and going, okay, how can we start stepping things up a little bit? Because now you're starting to get really comfortable in that. You've almost got a little bit like it's become a subconscious thing. You just started doing it, started putting the protein in the coffee, etc. Or you started doing the workouts without even thinking about it, or dare I say, even started to enjoy them. Now you start to do that, and then we can start pushing on. And over time, we start to build up a plan that's one step at a time, just 1 foot outside of the comfort zone, not 2, just 1 that's enough to make you feel amazing and great and brilliant. All right, so now we start to build up and end up over here over time. Now, how long is time? It depends on the person. It depends how those steps kind of integrate and feel more comfortable, okay? That's when we go from here to here. And over time, and I've seen this happen too many times to mention, that someone goes from where they were to where they want to be, and they look, feel amazing, and the best thing of all, they don't ever feel like they need to go back to here unless they go out of their way to get there, okay? That's how this can start to happen. But now I'm going to bring my attention over to what's going on in this goal scenario. Because over here in this goal scenario, you're going to notice there's still some poos. Now, let's bring it to me for a second, okay? People look at me sometimes and go, Scott, you know, you look great. You're nearly 49 years old. You're jumping around. You're doing all these crazy exercises, this, that, and the other. One, they rightfully turn around and say, yeah, but that's easy for you, Scott, because your life is health and fitness. I work in health and fitness. My life personally is not health and fitness. if there's one thing you learn when you're involved in health and fitness, is actually your health and fitness ends up going on the back burner. I'm helping others with their health and fitness, and sometimes that can take its toll on mine. I just very dedicated, and I make sure that I've gone for those lowest hanging poos forever over time to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do in a manageable way that still allows me a life. But would I say I'm where I want to be? Yeah, I would. And that's okay. It's taken me a long time. It's taken me a lifetime to get there as well. I say that with true transparency. I eat what I like. I do what I like because I'm always in control. Now, control means this. I still have poos in my life, okay? And that's where I'm coming to with this point. I'm at my goal, maybe, okay? I look the way I want to look. I'm not as big as some people maybe say I should be, which is a funny thing to me, but I'm happy where I am. This works well for me. It means I'm mobile. It means I can keep up with the kids. I can do everything I want to do. I can be as active as I want to be and do all the things that I want to do. So this works well for me. Now, in this scenario over here in our goal, I still have some poos. Now, those poos might be a few glasses of wine now and then, or going out to eat with my kids, because if anyone has kids, and you know that kids mean carbs, and it's not always the good kind, okay? It's the kind that we would think about, you know, like the donuts or the Krispy Kremes or whatever, you know, it doesn't really matter. The McDonald's, wherever it is, you know, these are the kind of things that we do occasionally, and there's the word occasionally, but they are the little poos. But the poos are great. The poos keep you sane almost. They keep that little bit of you. They could be devil symbols, whatever, it doesn't really matter, but they're not bad. They're great. And they just keep you sane. But ideally what you want is to make sure there's just a few less poos than there are the little halos, okay? Because it's the halos that keep you where you want to be. And it's the poos that kind of keep you a little bit sane in between as well. It's the yin and the yang, if you like, okay? But you've got to get your yin and your yang in the right balance. So up in here, you don't want to get rid of all the poos. Now, I mentioned earlier what it looks like when you have your goal body and it has no poos in it whatsoever. That is when you get to the level of, say, being an elite athlete. Now, in that case, when you want to be the best of the best of the best of the best of the best, you better be damn sure that you have to make sure you've given yourself the best opportunity possible, and all those poos need to go, even if it's just temporary. Now, that goal, say for an elite athlete who wants to be an Olympian or the best of the best of the best of the best of the best, there's going to have to be periods where that goal is only full of halos, okay? Because any of those poos are going to hold them back from that other person who has just got rid of all their poos. So you start to see how these conversations sound a bit weird, but they also make sense at the same time. But here's the thing. I've worked with some elite athletes. I'm lucky enough to have done that. I've also worked with some actors who have had to get in amazing shape super quick, and they've had to be super strict. They are not happy. In general, there's some less than ideal scenarios going on. But the passion, the goal is well worth it at that time, and it's worth it totally. And they would do it again, and they do it again, particularly when it comes to the athletes, because they have to get ready time and time again. But this is where people go wrong in general. And when I say people, I mean general public. And this is what I really want to get across with this whole thing. But I needed to paint out the whole scenario of how this all comes together, because you'll start to see where you've been going wrong. We generally think that where we are now, yeah, we're expecting some mess in there, but where we want to be, we're not expecting any mess in there whatsoever. We're expecting it all to be amazing, this angelic lifestyle. Let me tell you, anyone I've ever met who is perfect with their angelic lifestyle inherently lives a somewhat limited lifestyle to what they used to. Now, if that's you, that's great. Go for it. Be you. But I have to say, with 99.99999% of the people I've ever met, including elite athletes, that perfect angelic lifestyle is not sustainable, and it's not a happy one. And it's also not all it's cracked up to be. If you get a big reward out of it, you get to be the best of the best of the best of the best, it was worth it. but they're very few and far between. So generally, the perfect goal still has a few little quirks in it or poos in it that keep you sane, keep you happy. And that is when things start to change for you. This is where I'm going. It took me a long time to get here, but this process is being done generically. So you could be anyone, and I'm trying to cover all scenarios here. I'm trying to get those aha moments coming in. For you to get where you want to be is totally possible. If I'd said that at the start, you just would have dismissed it. But now hopefully you can start to see how it's totally possible. For you to get where you want to be, your goal, it's totally possible. And even better, for you to get where you want to be and stay there without feeling like you are missing out on life is totally possible. And the way you do it is the way I explained. You first off find where you're at. Then you work out where you want to be. Then you forget all that for a second. Then you go look in the mirror. You go shed all of your troubles. You start airing out all the things that are holding you back, the reasons why, be them outside of you, say work or a partner, to the intrinsic problems that you might have, such as how you feel about yourself or how much doubt you have about yourself. You offload all of that, and then you start to rebuild your goal again and see if it's still in line with what you said. Then you start looking, okay, I'm here, I want to be here. What's the lowest hanging fruit? What little steps can I take? And if you don't know what steps to take, that's when you hire a coach. And I don't mean a personal trainer, I mean a coach. Someone who can coach you and coax out those lowest hanging fruit that are going to be possible for you to get where you want to be step by step by step by step by step, without ever feeling like you're completely out of your comfort zone. Over time, then you start to make the transition from where you are now to where you want to be. And then when you're there, then the world's your oyster. Now, what I mean by that is, okay, now you've naturally, organically, use whatever words you like, got to this part that is your version, with it still got its poos in there. That might be going out a couple of nights a week and eating out in moderation, okay? But understanding that you know what it is that you're doing, and you're not going free for all crazy just because you've got a case of the crazies going on each and every week. You are more in control because you want this to happen for you, because you know how much it means to you. It's your drive, it's your passion, it's what's going to fuel all the real things that you really want to achieve in life. Then when you're here, now you can start to look forward. You can be like, okay, I'm really happy with where I am now. And then you just maintain. And for the record, that's what I've been doing for the last 15 years, just maintaining. Maybe you then think, okay, I love where I am now, but now I'm going to set a new goal. And then you'll start the process again. You don't have to. But that's how you get the stepping stones, and all of a sudden you start getting these goals over time. And yes, you're getting older, but your goals are actually getting further more forward, and you're starting to progress in life. So age doesn't have to hold you back, but you do so in a smart way. And I haven't touched on anything to do with training or anything to do with how life changes as you get older. That would be a whole nother subject, and it's something that I delve into deeply with my clients, one-on-one, bespoke as well, in that making sure that the training is actually beneficial to them. It gets them the results, them what they want, but it reduces the risk and increases the rewards. Okay, so maybe some exercise selections need to change in that case. But this is how I say to you that your drive, your ultimate drive, your passion, your why, whatever that you want to call that is the key to get from where you are now to where you want to be. And you run through that whole process that I've just done there. That is what my work involves on a bespoke level, one-to-one. So when someone hires me as a coach or a personal trainer, it's not just a case of eat this, do that. I don't work that way. And any coach worth their salt starts to understand this and build this up over life. I've been doing this since I was 11 years old. I've been through the mill, I've made some mistakes, I've learned from those mistakes, and I've brought my game on time and time again. So when someone hires me, they also get all that experience with them along with that hire as well. So I hope this video has opened up a few things for you, made you realize actually there's more that goes to building a genuine goal that is sustainable and one that you can live happily than just randomly writing down a few New Year's resolutions that kind of sound like your goal that you might want to achieve for yourself. So, as I said at the start, do you know what your drive is? If you don't, run through this video again, start to find that drive. If you need help, reach out, great. If you don't, go through the process I said, start breaking it down, and I look forward to seeing you at that goal sometime in the future.